Hello, it's always a joy to sit here and have this conversation with you. Today we will be conversating on something a lot of people, I'm told this morning, I actually thought a lot of us look forward to it, but today I'm just being cleared that most of us do not look forward to it. And again, it's something that I also found out there is another side of it. What am I talking about? It is menopause. I said it. So we all get young, we all get old, and we all fade out, one way or the other. My name is Elizabeth. The program is Conversation, and we have in the house team of lovely people. Let's start from the ladies. The men say it's their world, but this studio is our women's world.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Lynette Ikwan, and it's good to be back.
Thank you.
And I am Titi Ojo. It's always a pleasure to be on this every
Platform.
time. This platform.
Okay.
Time to talk.
Hello.
I am Bumila Dikwo, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. Bumilatipo is a gynecologist.
Nice.
And I was just wondering,
Nice.
he's a man and he's discussing menopause.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
Because I love women.
Nice.
That's good. The men that love us, we love them.
Oh,
All
nice.
right, that's a nice one. You know, so I always wonder, menopause, a whole lot is told us about it. In fact, by the day one you're starting the
Your period.
menses, that one is called
Menarche.
menarche.
Mm-hmm.
We're already hearing about the other man. And again, I keep wondering, why is it no woman pause?
I know, right?
Why is it menopause?
Things about women is centered around men.
Oh, wow. There we go again.
Are you saying it's a man's world?
Yeah, exactly.
He's trying to gradually take it back. But it's okay. So, what really is menopause?
Menopause is actually not an event, but usually is defined as an event. And the event is when the regular monthly period stops coming. But it won't just happen suddenly. So it's over a period of time.
So, it's a
So
process?
it's a process rather than an event, because it sets in gradually. The woman might still be menstruating but start feeling some symptoms of menopause until eventually probably the menses will become irregular, and eventually it will cease completely. So it's a process that might take up to 2 years or more for some women. So it's a transition from regular menses to
Irregular
menopause.
menses.
Irregular menses.
And then full
eventually-
stop. All right, we will come back to find out why and how and symptoms and all that. But that will be when we check this little skit. Don't go away.
She wasn't always like this, but one day she just started causing problems with everybody around her.
That's weird. What's she doing?
What's she not doing? She's not quarreling with my uncle over the clothes he's wearing. She's quarreling with my cousin over the food she's making. She's also quarreling with me. If I come home past 6, just a little bit past 6, she'll say that, oh, you become a cultist, you join bad gang, and now like, I don't even know, but that's why you're coming home late now. And then it's only just 6 o'clock.
Now, wow.
One time, my mom gave me wrapper to give her. When I gave it to her, she just carried it and she flung it. Like, why is she giving her this nonsense?
Now, wow.
Last weekend, the two of us went to the market and then she started fighting, physical fighting with a market woman there, and then police had to come.
That's weird. Are you sure your auntie is not going through menopause?
You know what? What's that?
Menopause, it happens to women that are age mates. They get really angry, they get cranky, they sweat a lot. They just they can't sleep at night. They overreact to everything that happens around them. They have like mood swings, they get headaches, they even get fat. Maybe that's what's wrong with her.
Maybe. Wait, this thing sounds serious. What should I do? Should I carry her to hospital? It sounds serious.
Yeah, I think you should take her to hospital. You know there are medical practitioners there that would talk to her and help her. I think that's what you should do. Or maybe you should talk to your mom and your uncle to talk to her about it. I think your uncle will be in a better place to talk to her about it. Don't you think? You know this is the time she needs family members to be around her.
But nobody wants to be around her now. Last, she threw a plate at my head.
To help her. I'm serious. You should just talk to them. They should talk to her. She needs family members to be around her the most. Forget about what she's doing. This is the time that you really have to help her. Don't you think? Well, I think you should start going now because it's even getting late, so you don't get in trouble again.
Cairo, that's another problem.
Start going now. It's already late.
Okay. I'm going.
Alright, bye.
Doc, I noticed your face when that was going on. You're going like,
Interesting discussion.
and it makes us even more scared. Interesting discussion. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's quite well. The support, maybe I should actually hype that. The support women need about that age is the most important care we can give, really. The understanding and the support. We used to, many years ago, think that menopausal problems are not here in Africa. And compared to Europe and many other places. And until now, we're seeing a lot more of people coming to the hospital with a problem. And we've reasoned why. Why were we not seeing those things at those earlier days of our practice? And we discovered that it's because of the family support. You hardly have women live alone, like in some other places. You have older women in the midst of younger children in the family. So that support contributes a lot in making them really adjust so well to menopausal situations.
Yeah, a
So
lot
that
of
is very
times.
important.
Okay. A lot of times I've always said that Nigerians, indeed Africans, were blessed with the family system we have, where
We
we
should not
have not
destroy it.
just the
Yeah.
nuclear family,
Yeah.
the extended family. Some of us want to stay alone because we want to run away from responsibilities, want to have a cool life. But at the end of the day, we pay
Yeah.
even more because the shouting you do on daily basis actually helps you to keep going.
And running after grandchildren
Even the grandchildren.
keeps you
Yes.
exercised.
Oh, exactly. But let's really go back. Titi, I don't know if you've had some people complain to you about some of the symptoms.
Yes, let me even say that I myself have experienced it.
Oh.
And I think I got, it was a bit early for me, I think. Because I shared with my mom, she said, well, it is what it is. But of course, I had my children and...
It didn't matter.
So it didn't really matter. And I was in my 40s anyway. Of course, this year I'll be 45 for those watching it. But let's say the whole process started like when I was 42. Because I started experiencing the heat flashes and all that. That one, I didn't even understand what it was. I'm like,
What is heat flash?
suddenly you
You
just
just
feel
feel
hot.
hot.
It's
Hot
like
flashes,
a wave.
yeah?
Yes,
Yeah.
it just comes upon you and like, what's... It's sometimes you get
It's
so
from
hot.
inside, yeah.
It's from inside.
And then
just
it
comes.
resonates out.
Yes.
You haven't
So-
had it.
I've had hot flashes, but
okay.
it's more like a hormonal thing, isn't it?
Yes.
So you could have it maybe when you get pregnant, maybe when your hormones are imbalanced.
Okay.
You just have hot flashes, and then at that point, I know that it's wise to check your hormones. I do know that this part of the world, people hardly check their hormones, and sometimes even headaches. Excessive headaches are caused by hormone imbalance. Well, I'm not the doctor here.
I went to see a doctor at one point because I think I was not feeling too well. So one of my private doctors, and when I started talking about these things, I was like, "Yeah, Mama, yeah, you're way too menopause." I was like, "At what age?" They're like, do you know that even now 35-year-olds? I'm like, "Don't tell
Seriously?
me." Yeah, it was
Doctor,
telling
is
that
that
the
true?
age.
Early menopause.
Well, the acceptable age for menopause is 50 plus or minus 5. For some people, it could
Plus or
extend
minus 5, like
Yeah.
45.
to
But it's-
55. For some people, it could extend on and on and on and on. But it's possible to have it earlier, So when a woman gets into menopause before 40, it's premature, it's early.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
we'll
then
get to find out why
Yes.
that may happen. But you
Yes.
had your story.
So, one thing I do read a lot. Like some of you know, I like to. I
I
like
know.
So a lot of times I read about things and I started studying, okay, menopause, what are the signs and what are the reactions. So from there I started seeing things like some women even get depressed. I read about the heat flushes. So a couple of things I was kind of putting myself in that frame. In fact, when I saw that depression part, I'm like, if this should happen to me,
That'll be a problem.
no problem. But I noticed there was a point, really. I was just my spirit was just really down unnecessarily. I was trying to But then because I've read it, I was like, man, through this, I have to just hold on. I have to, let me not be cranky like we saw in that video. I had to just keep my spirit alive. And I'm a very jovial and very energized person. People even describe me my energy. But, at that period, that energy was not, even sometimes I just want to be alone. But then because I've read it, I had to kind of cope with it. So perhaps I think those periods I even did more of going to the movies. I remember I'm like, let's go and watch a movie. Like, let me just, something needs to energize me. And of course, the family system, like you always say, you don't have a husband and say, what's wrong with you? It just feels, okay, maybe this woman just wants to be alone. Sometimes if I want to be alone, just let me be. But I also understood the period I was going through. And it's because I was also aware of it. Because I also had another friend that placed a call to me, I think that was last month or 2 months ago. And she was like, I'm going through this stage and it's like hell for her. I said, Titi, what? I said, well, you know what? You just have to deal with it. Because it's a phase and it will pass.
Yeah.
That's it. So, really, it's, I guess that's why some women just even dread it. Like, all these things they say will happen to you. I want to go through all of this. But really...
Well, I do know that there are supplements that help with mood swings. Like magnesium is awesome for mood enhancement. So I try to take magnesium, calcium, zinc, and vitamin D3 on a regular basis. So it keeps me happy. Even when I should be, even when I should, but even when I should be reacting unnecessarily, I'm, calm. And then I try to monitor the things that I don't like. I stay away from them. And then, I just, I'll say my own kind of anger management therapy. That's another area that people don't check. People don't really check their psychology, their psychosis, and all of that.
Mental
And
health.
yes, the mental health. And unfortunately, look, the Bible says, I wish that you prosper above all things. Or rather, I wish above all things that you prosper in health.
Yes.
Even in health, as your soul prospereth. Now, if you're not doing well health-wise, every other thing will suffer.
Right.
So we must take care of our health. It's paramount. It's scriptural. For me, it's spiritual. We're a tripart being. We also have egos. We have emotions. All these things should be balanced. My dad taught me about optimum states of wellness as a teenager. And he told me you need to check your optimum state of wellness because it could shift. From 0, it's either it goes -1 and below, or it goes +1 and above. So, as a teenager, I try to keep my temper in check, and I always checked. Because sometimes, of course, as a teenager, you do weird things, and you're discovering yourself still. Hormones are, up and down. So, he'll say that action that you just carried out, what level do you think your optimum state of wellness was? And then I'll check, and okay, that's all right. So it's something that stuck with me. So these are things that we should be enlightened about. Our mental health is very important, but it's ignored.
All right,
Am I right?
Thank you.
Doctor,
We're going to
am I
really
right?
sit down with you for a long time now. You raised an issue when you said it could be earlier, and that's premature. When is premature? Is it natural, or the other things one may have done to ignite that in one system?
It could be natural, it could be acquired.
Okay.
Like the hormones that you mentioned about is produced from the ovaries. Women have ovaries, that's where they produce their eggs from. But they have a fixed number of eggs and it expires. That's when they get into menopause.
It expires?
Yes.
It doesn't have NAFDAC number or something.
It does, from God.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, but modern medicine has made it that you could store them. You could freeze them and then use them when you need them. So in this part of the world, we need to improve in the healthcare sector. Because if we could freeze the eggs... nice.
Freeze the eggs. Here in Nigeria.
Where? Please, I need to...
We'll talk about that.
All right, so go ahead.
So really, It could be acquired or natural. For the acquired ones, women who have surgeries and they have their ovaries removed, so they go into menopause suddenly. Suddenly, and it could actually be traumatic because it's, like I said, it's a process. So the reason for the process is to allow the body to get used to the waning hormones. So, but when you have such surgery where suddenly you enter into it, so really such people will have some form of assistance, maybe to give medications, some form of therapy to minimize the symptoms and the problem. And then for the natural ones, well, because of environmental factors, maybe in terms of some mild infections, viral infections, so many things that assaulted the ovaries, yeah, women can actually naturally, without surgery, just enter into menopause earlier than expected. Mostly because I believe because of environmental influence much more, But so it's built into some people to actually enter early. So
Does it come in with what I have heard repeatedly? If you started menstruating early, like 8, 9, you definitely have to stop early too. If you started
No.
late, you stop late too.
No, it's the reverse.
Okay.
If you start early, you stop late.
Oh, really?
If you start late, you stop early.
Why?
It's the reverse. It's a built-in clock, kind of. There is a capital that everyone is given, and it's different. It's a variant capital. God has packaged your own inside. And when it's exhausted, it's exhausted. So every girl child starts with that capital. And every month that she's menstruating, she's depleting the store.
Right.
Some people will deplete the store faster than some other people. It's a complex thing. I'm happy that you talked about your teenage years. First crisis points reproductively for women is around the pubertal period. The second crisis point for reproductive women is around the menopause. It's a game of hormones in the body, So it happens on both sides, and people need to know more about it. And you handle your own well. I'm sure your dad taught you well.
I still want to push on the issue of courses, because a whole lot, when we actually promoted this topic, a lot of people asked questions. So I would want to be asking the questions as we go on. Somebody wanted to know if you get into menopause because you're, either starved or on your own, you've decided not to have frequent sex. So
Sex.
does the menopause come from having too much sex or having too little sex?
No, that's a myth.
Oh, okay.
It is not related to the number of sexual intercourses. That's a myth. It's not related to that at all. Okay? But menopause itself can actually cause some sexual issues because of the changes. One of the symptoms is the dryness that the woman will actually reduce libido. I mean, they are all related to menopausal symptoms, and that can actually lead to some sexual problems. There is need for counseling and also suggestion how to handle the issue of dryness, because it becomes painful to the woman. So she's averse to having sexual intercourse. But that can be actually handled. There are ways to take care of that.
The last of a question before we move on to the next one is, would too much abortion, like you put it, deplete the store earlier than it should be?
Too much abortion. That's very serious. I don't think so. Too much pregnancy. Let me use it that way. Will not deplete the store.
Okay.
It's every month a cohort of eggs will start developing in the womb. Eventually, it's only one that will be released in ovulation, and the others will just dry up, kind of, in a way, every month. There are a number of factors that will affect the number that will start up every month. And probably the rate of losing those eggs might be increasing some women than others. But once a woman gets pregnant, she has a way of conserving some of those eggs, but she will still lose them later on because when you are not menstruating, you are pregnant, you are conserving your store in a way, but when you start menstruating again, you start losing them, so you catch up somehow. Abortions will not. But if the abortion gets complicated, even pregnancy and delivery, and it gets complicated, and it affects the organs producing those hormones, because there are some complications that can affect, like a woman delivery, and during delivery, losing a lot of blood can actually compromise the hormones that control the system, and she can lose everything about menses, completely, away. But just the process of losing pregnancy does not diminish the store.
What about when you take a lot of contraceptives? Does it also, make you go in faster or later than normal?
No. The contraceptive will stop ovulation, but this process of losing eggs is continuous. Even if you don't ovulate, it's a continuous thing, Well, contraceptives are protective, particularly oral contraceptive pills, against a number of other problems like ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and some other things. So it's advisable for women to actually to use contraceptive if they don't want to get pregnant. So we should not discourage women because of menopause. That's it.
All right, we are getting a lot of questions. The first two I asked, I didn't want to name their names, but I'll go ahead and name this person. Say Sadiq Yaradua. I guess Sadiq Yaradua is the man, right?
Sounds like.
Okay. Good morning, consultants, Dr. Ladikbo and Mrs. Ikwem. I hope all is well. Please, I want to get highlights based on menopause from Sadiq. Highlights. Sadiq, this is a man. Sadiq is man, right? So do men have menopause?
It's not called menopause. It's called
men actually have.
They have something that looks like menopause, but it's not called menopause.
What is
it's
it
called
called?
andropause.
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 And there's no egg, so what's going to happen to the men?
It's not as abrupt as women have their own. It's so gradual. But they also have symptoms.
Such as?
Of climacteric age, when a man gets to the climax of his life, such as tiredness, fatigue. They can't do things like pains, joint pains. They get slower, fatter, grayer, wrinkled.
That's true.
All kind of things.
It's not menopause.
But around what age?
Women are green, so I'm sure they have observed it in some men. But it's not as abrupt and defined as you do have it.
Okay, it's good to know. Now, I would like to find out from our sister here, Titi, when you said you had it, you said you did a lot of reading to help you manage and go to the movies. Which other, coping techniques did you use? So maybe the doctor can help us too as well. Did you use to, get through to it? And really, is it over?
Well, for me, I'm as free as a bird, just chirping all over the place, I also feel that it depends on the nature of whoever it is. Yeah. Because on a normal day, I'm just my merry-go, happy-go-lucky. So kind of I just dealt with it, and perhaps people around may never even know that anything was wrong with me, but I was like,
did you feel like crying sometimes? And you actually cried?
The mood swing part, I didn't like it, seriously. I didn't. Because in fact, I was like, why am I feeling like this? That one, I knew that something was wrong somewhere. That mood swing was not nice at all. I didn't like it because, like I said, I'm describing my energy. Anyway, even when I'm abroad, if anybody likes to see someone that has a lot of energy, and suddenly it's like, I'm just there like depressed in my spirit, the things I want to do. Even work was not really... On the normal day, I wake up in the morning like, hey, today's another day. Let me just get the road. Then I'm just there. I'm like, I'm just losing interest. I didn't like it, really. But of course, maybe because I'm also aware of that period of my life, I just had to take it. I still had to deliver my best at everything I do without anybody saying what's wrong with you and all of that. But, as a Christian too, I pray about things. Yeah. So I had to tell God to help me through this because normally when you don't like the way you feel about something, you really feel you can't really help it. It's not really in your power to
Control it.
it's your body, and it has to happen at this stage. I had to ask God to just help me, really. Just let me go through this well. Let me go through it, and when I'm through at the other side, I just look back. I'm like, yeah, so I can become a counselor, Like someone can just call me, and I'm like, yeah, let me tell you how it is, okay? So I went through that nicely, and of course I know that some women, because maybe they're still in childbearing age and menopause hits them, then that's really devastating. But for me, I'm done with childbearing. Like I just wanted to have my 2 boys, and I've been okay with that a long time ago. So I'm like, yeah. You're right. This is really cool. I don't see this blood every month. So I was like, happy, yes. And I was like, Titi, you have to bear this because, you're also excited that at least you won't be worrying about buying sanitary pads anymore. So it was just a phase. I had to take it gallantly. I had to pray.
When you pass through that side of a shop, you say hello. That's
I'll tell you. I'm just like, bye. I'm done with you.
So, Doc, what should we be doing to ensure? How will I even know in the first place that it's menopause worrying me and it's not another thing entirely?
Yeah, that is like she did. I mean, she actually met a medical personnel when she was a little bit confused about it. So if there is some confusion about how you feel, it might be nice to actually meet a medical personnel. There are some tests that can actually be done to confirm it's menopause, apart from other things, and that can actually be well diagnosed to a large extent. But I like what she said, this coping mechanism is individualized. It's not the same thing for everyone. It's good for you to discover yourself, to know what works for you, to know what triggers your moods, to know what triggers your feelings and things, and avoid them. Even the hot feelings, to know what makes it worse, and to avoid those things you have to take. There are some people who react to at that age, they're used to taking coffee, but now they take coffee, they just lose everything, So to avoid certain things, even some certain food and what to eat and everything. So you have to discover yourself and
More healthy
and be able
foods,
to
more probiotics.
To be able to cope.
I heard, lifestyle, like you already started saying, it's important even before you get into it. The level of your workouts, that's exercises, the kind of food you eat. She already mentioned some supplements. And I know some of the supplements are also embedded in our natural food.
In our food,
If you get to eat them, by the time you get to that level, it's reduced like 50%. Could you enlighten us more?
The hormones, is an issue of hormones, protects women against certain diseases naturally, okay? Particularly the estrogen, that's the main hormone. When it's depleted, a woman goes into menopause. It's protective. It protects the heart, protects some other organs, So before menopause, women are protected against heart diseases. But as soon as they get into menopause, they will start having those high blood pressure, diabetes, so many other things manifesting are not there. So and we know these diseases are related to lifestyle.
Right.
So if over time you've been working on your lifestyle, you can actually transition smoothly and also prevent those complications and diseases that occur in menopause and build stock, within you that can help you cope effectively with menopause. So exercise, daily exercise, if you can go to gym, great. If not, just take a brisk walk for some few minutes. Your food, type of food, a lot of high fiber, you mentioned high fiber, vegetables, green vegetables, fruits, they will help you over time, Drink a lot of water. If you smoke, avoid smoking as a way of complicating issues. Take a little alcohol if you want, if you can't do without it, but not too much. So just
Healthy alcohol, like red wine.
Yeah, healthy living, will help you transition smoothly into menopause.
It's important. Anyway, we've still got to talk about how to cope with it, but let's see and interact with our viewers. I have had surgery with uterus removed. Both uterus are preserved. Both ovaries are preserved. Please, what drug can I use? No, we don't give drugs here for menopause because I do have headaches and sleep issues. I know doctor will not prescribe drugs on air, but go ahead and give your advice.
Well, for her, she was not forced into menopause because she said the uterus, the womb was removed, but they conserved the ovaries. So she will still have those hormones produced with a difference. There will be no menstruation because the womb has been removed. But those hormones will still be there, you know, and when the right time comes for menopause, she will go gradually through the phases of menopause and go into it, okay? So for her, really, she might not need any therapy because they conserve the ovaries. But the other group of people are the people who have their ovaries removed with the womb. In that case, the woman will go suddenly into menopause and it can actually be very traumatic to the woman. So they might need a more radical
So
support.
she just needs to see her gyno
To see her gynae, to
talk about the headaches and sleep
headaches
issues.
and some other things. And if she has entered into menopause, they can actually know if they do the test. They will say, now, I think you're in menopause.
All right. Good morning, doctor. I'm 45 years old and I've been having irregular menstruation. I don't even ovulate anymore and I'm trying to get pregnant. What can be done? Wow.
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 She mentioned her experience, which was worthwhile because she's already completed her family. So she embraced it. I won't have to buy parts. But for some other women who have not had children, menopause becomes a psychological pressure. It's as if my time is running out.
Yeah.
And it adds more mental health issue to the whole thing. Apart from the mental health issue related to menopause, but the mental health issue related to not having that desire met, you know, and it can really be terrible. And some women can actually lose it because of that, you know.
But medically speaking, they could do some artificial something.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you. There is virtually no age now that a woman cannot have a baby. Though we still have
Thanks to
to
medicine.
that's medicine for now,
Modern
but we
medicine.
still have to regulate it. You know, the technology is available even in Nigeria to help such women. Okay.
All right, just takes going to a good hospital. So try out if you're watching us and you just got your answer. See a gyno, or you can call doctor after the program, not now. Good morning. My name is Veronica Musa. Are there natural remedies or food to take to delay menopause or increase fertility? Yes, it's important. How can we push it?
I thought she was going to talk about that.
I want you to schedule your menopause.
I want to
about
post
that.
menopause.
No, the question is directed at you. So.
Okay then. It's actually not advisable. This age of women wanting to be young forever.
Hello.
We don't have it, sorry. I don't mean it in a bad light. We don't have it as a problem probably in our environment, but in some other countries it's a big problem. They want to be
anti-aging.
they want to be young
forever young.
And that's when people start talking about postponing menopause. Doing that, there is actually no action without reaction. I think everybody should understand that. Yes, there are medications you can actually take to keep on having menses and to keep on having those hormones within you, but they also have their problems. Yeah, they have their problems. You know, so you don't. I'm sure a worthwhile doctor will not just prescribe medication for you to postpone menopause.
That's why she went, clearly to say natural remedy.
Yes.
Whether there are things you can do.
Although I know that vitamin E does a lot in helping fertility, so I would advise that she does take a lot of vitamin E, or perhaps take the right quantity of vitamin E. It's good for the skin. It's good for so many things in the body. It's an antioxidant. It rids the liver of oxidants, which are supposed to be like poisons to the body, and toxins. So she should take vitamin E.
So go and look for food that are rich.
Vitamin E,
Yes,
is good. It rejuvenates, And you mentioned earlier on concerning vitamin D, which is quite also good. Calcium, magnesium. You mentioned those elements. People should pay attention to that. Menopause is natural. it will come.
It will come.
Take as much as you can.
Yeah.
It will come.
Gulp it every
Don't
day.
let anybody deceive you. When the time comes,
It
it will
has
come.
It must.
I see all the men behind the camera laughing. You have your own, it's menopause. All right, so let's go on. Good morning. We had this discussion in the office, and it is said that contraceptives, early menstruation, and junk food cause early menopause. Sorry, I don't know if I can have Dr. Olubimi's contact, Matthew Sani. All right, Matthew, with his permission, I'll send it to you directly. I'm not going to read his number right here on national television so that people
Yeah,
will not...
maybe we should mention something about junk food. It's not good.
Yeah.
That's just, yes, it's not good for anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so, sir, can menopause cause mental disorder?
Ah, yes.
It
Oh,
can.
yes. The issue
That's
about
scary.
menopause affects everything. Everything. And because of that critical age of a woman getting more mature, these are when disappointments will become more obvious, things that have not gone right will become, and the pressure of life can actually crush somebody that is not well prepared for it. So yes, it's one of the contributing factor to mental well-being.
Wow. There's a story here now. It says, good morning, doctor. Please, I am 38 years old, TTC, but I am having hot flashes recently. It's my 8 years in marriage. We got to know my husband had low sperm count 3 years back, but it has been treated. Yet, I have not conceived or missed my period for once. What should I do or take? Though I'm taking vitamin E and D3 daily. Favor. Oh, just like you said.
Just say doctor. She just say doctor.
All right, Favor, we may not be able to treat on air, but you get to listen. By the time you pick one or two things, practice it, it will help. But generally, like you said, you need to work hand in hand with your gyno. There's always a solution. Like Lynette has just clapped for science. It's doing a great deal. All right, my question now is, a lot of times women are scared of this, but I haven't really stopped to ask, these symptoms, when does it get to end? You mentioned something about 2 years. Is it like it's going to be there a lifetime?
Yeah, the transition into menopause, I mean, when the menses will eventually stop completely.
Okay. Do you
It's
ever
probably
get to
about
stop all those problems, the
yes,
depression?
after a while. It's not forever. It ranges from 5 years to 10 years. I mean, if the woman...
5 to 10 years?
Yes.
You have to go through that?
For some women, it's prolonged. For some other women, it doesn't get that long.
Titi, do you still have hot flashes?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
of course, you talked about other things like when
Yeah.
you enter menopause,
Yeah.
your sexual activity and all that. So when I also started noticing some of those things, I'm like, I have to deal with this. I gotta deal with this. The dryness and all that. Death.
What do you do about the dryness?
Well, the dryness, there are lubricants, simple lubricants that can be used
There
that
are
will help.
foods too.
Yeah.
Food?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, maybe we should go into foods.
Okay.
Since she
Go
likes,
ahead.
she likes food. I think so.
I like research.
There are
Okay, so
this-
a very simple remedy. Okra. We all know okra. One thing women need to know is anything you eat kind of finds its way down there. Yeah. So yes, you eat a
So
lot
if
of
I eat a
things.
lot of okra, I
It goes
get
down
money.
there.
I'm just hearing this for the first time.
Is it true? So if you want a lot of lubricants, soak raw okra in a glass of water, like half a glass of water. Let it steep for, let's say, 12 hours. Following day, just take off the okra and drink the slimy water. You do that constantly, dryness is gone.
Wow.
The hormone, like I mentioned, estrogen, there are some natural products that have these natural hormones. And when you consume them, it's a form of replacement of what your
Right.
body is not producing. It's called phytoestrogens, the ones from the plants and some other things, you know. So there are some food stuffs that are quite rich in this, you know, soya, soya beans, and soya
Yes.
products. Has a lot of
Pineapple.
Yes, pineapple
Yeah.
improves your mood because of the content of serotonin.
Yeah.
So once that reduces, you just go into a very low mood. So you get foods that are rich in serotonin, and it improves your mood.
Is tiger nuts amongst them? Because I know people talk
Tiger
about tiger
nut
nuts.
gives you more energy. It doesn't lubricate the
Because I just know
area.
that we talk about
It gives you the power to go.
So maybe that one area for women to explore is the food area.
Yeah, it is.
It
It
will
is.
help. I mean, you'll be able to get some of these natural remedies and,
Okay.
without
Yes.
side effects, hopefully.
Yes. Mm.
All right, so how should we be talking to the husbands? I'm sure it's when you talk about menopause, I am not surprised that the name is menopause, not
Men
woman
need to
pause.
Yeah.
It's intentional because it affects the woman.
But
Or
the
the woman bears the symptoms, but the man also
Suffers
gets
the-
affected,
yeah.
suffers the
The
consequences.
consequences.
Yes,
Trust me, that's so true.
so how do you begin to speak to the men? Coping mechanism too.
I'm happy that most of the people who responded
It's
and wanted
surprising.
to know
Most of them are men.
about,
Right.
Yeah,
about
because they're going
menopause.
through it.
Yes,
And
there's
they're
some-
The
experiencing
recipients of this.
the horrible
so this is part of
behavior.
it. This engagement is part of it. For people to be aware. I'm particularly happy with you. Maybe you're a bookworm, you like reading. And then, but people need to know, because knowledge will help in a lot of ways. When knowledge will also remove the fear.
Yeah.
Knowledge will help you cope effectively. So people need to know. We need to have the discussion like we're
Right.
doing. We need to read like she did.
Research.
So when the men understand what the process the woman is going through, they will be able to support, and that probably will mitigate the old symptoms and help the two of them.
All right.
Can I just even add that even having these conversations with husbands is very key.
Yeah.
Like the wife, I had to talk to my husband one day. I'm like, okay, so he's like, I'm diving into this menopause. And then when I was fully menopause, I said I'm experiencing the dryness and all that. And of course, sex wasn't so enjoyable to me anymore. Honestly, I was like, oh God, the pain and everything. I had to have a conversation with my husband, like, this is how I feel, and this is it. And honestly, I was like, I said yes. So I'm not just enjoying this thing anymore for the information, but he's just a very understanding person as well. So it's more like, okay, you're going through a process and I have to understand it with you, you know, which was really important. And then later on, I talked to a pharmacist friend of mine, because there was also another period I was like, this one that every time I would just be saying, I can't continue like this. So I had to also start consulting. Okay, in this case, what do you use? Are there lubricants? I had to. Because some women also might not care about that and say, okay, it's my time of my life. If you like, go and dive inside a deep ocean. And the guys are, okay, and deep ocean I shall dive. So the woman also needs to also understand, have these conversations. And I think that's where even in marriage communication is key, so that both partners understand, oh, my wife is going through this phase and I probably would need to help her. In fact, there was one solution I even saw. My husband didn't quite like it, because he didn't just like it. He didn't enjoy. So when he told me, I was like, but this is what me I want to do. But when he said that, I'm like, okay, Titi, you have to figure this out. Because it's just very important. Sex in marriage is really
It's
key,
very
and
important,
menopause shouldn't get in the way, because you still have many more years to live together till death do us part, for crying out loud. We might be together for the next 50 years,
Exactly.
So you won't let menopause now destroy your relationship
At all.
So I think
We'll not let it.
conversations.
Okay, so just as we speak, we'll take a little breather, and when we come back, more is in stock for you on menopause. All right, it's conversation, and we have been talking around menopause, coping with its symptoms, and then ensuring that we don't, push it under the rug. It happens, and is worrying a lot of people. We carry faces, And at the end of the day, it's actually our problem. And I'm happy a lot of people are communicating. We'll try as much as we can to take as many as possible messages. This one says, "Good morning, doctor. I am 29 years old and I always have irregular periods and I do not even know I ovulate. Please, how do I calculate ovulation? I'm in my period right now. It's not about ovulation, but doctor, I don't know what you can do."
Well, there are some women who have that problem of irregular menses and probably not ovulating. So they can actually be helped by treating it. So they should just see a gynecologist and you might be able to just give some medications that will help for her to ovulate and have children.
All right. Some people are still asking me for doctor's phone number. I have told you I will not call it out here because as much as people are watching, there are those who just call to disturb him. And he's a lover of women. I don't want him to be disturbed.
I love women.
He loves women, right?
It's part of the love to put a boundary.
Yes. So I will send you the number personally. I will not call his number on TV. Okay, please, doctor, I'm 42 years old. I have 4 children. I want to conceive again. Is it safe for me?
Well, desire is something that you can't really legislate over.
Yes.
I know there was a time in Nigeria, it's a 1 woman, 4 children. I don't know if you can still remember that time.
Yes.
It was a law, almost a law. You know, every woman should have 4. Yeah. Why? Because after 4, the problems in pregnancy, delivery, and after is increased. And also added to that, the problems related to age. Older women having children has its own complication added to it. So it's advisable, you know, to have your children before
Early.
40, if you can. But if you don't have any, yes. But desire is something that nobody can legislate about. So if you still want to have more children, it's your choice.
It's your choice, but doctor just told you, even though in an indirect manner, that after 40, it's not safe. So it's up to you to make up your mind. Good morning, all. Good morning, all. Is it healthy for a woman not to see her period for over 2 years? And what is the remedy? Is menopause? Is it?
No.
Well, there are some. We have to actually know if it's menopause or not. So it's better for you to see your doctor, because menopause itself is defined that if you have not menstruated for up to 1 year, then you're already in menopause. Okay, but it might not be menopause. So you have to see your doctor to differentiate if it's really menopause or not.
Okay, interesting. So one can actually take a pause for 2 years.
Yeah, there are many things that can lead to not menstruating.
Wow.
It's not only menopause.
Wow. Okay.
So many things.
Good to know. All right. Good morning.
that's
Siti, go and check if your own is menopause.
As is definitely, she confirmed it.
Before you start hailing yourself, the next 1 month now, you come. All right. Good morning, consultant. At what age should someone get married? I guess at what age is it better to get married? Since we're talking about menopause,
so-
for a woman.
Well, the surprisingly, the peak fertility period for women in Nigeria is 18 to 23. After 23, it starts declining. Unfortunately, because of prevailing situation now, we have departed from our traditional early marriage. Women are getting older and older because they are pursuing career and so many other things. For most of them, by the time they are getting married, it's the declining phase of their reproductive ability. So if I want to suggest to people, I would suggest they get married as early as possible. In their early 20s is ideal for women.
Early 20s to have her. I think last week too, when we talk about family planning, a doctor actually mentioned it's the best thing to have your babies before 27, 28, 30. All right, I hope we are all listening. And what I always say is, I don't know, I'm a Christian, and the Bible says, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So it's not he that findeth a husband. So the men should hurry up and marry the
And be
girls.
finding us.
And be finding us. All right. Please, doctor, I'm 45 years old. Does menopause have anything to do with loss of urgeness in a woman? I mean, sexual feeling. Okay.
He does.
It does. Okay. Titi already actually mentioned that. He says, good morning, ma. I am enjoying your conversation with your colleagues. Please, can I get the phone number of a doctor? Yes, but that will be after the program. I refuse to give doctor a problem. A lot of them are asking me phone number. Please ask me about menopause, not phone number. All right, so good morning, doctor and everyone. Please, I need doctor's number. Oh, okay. I'll try to avoid this doctor's number. Let me see if I can get the one that is not asking me for doctor's number. Good morning, doctor. Please, I'm 28 years old. I gave birth through CS August 2019. All through my breastfeeding, I didn't see my period. Immediately, I stopped. It started. Any issue with that?
No issue. That's not.
Okay, that's actually the best described method. All right, just before we leave, I would like to maybe 1 or 2 words. Let's start from Leonard.
Okay. Well, I believe that anything worth doing is worth doing well. Take care of your health, study, research. You know, we live in the age of vast knowledge, so there's no excuse as to why people should be ignorant or just careless about their health. If you don't take care of your health, then you just decline until you're not useful anymore. So if you want to stay useful and productive, your health is key.
All right, please.
So menopause is not a curse.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's something you should carry with pride. What I'm saying here really is this: once you know that there's a part of your life, it's a phase, and you have to pass through it. Then prepare your mind, prepare mentally for it, prepare physically for it. Just prepare for it. And this too shall pass. That's what that word says. This too shall pass. Know that it's just a phase, and something bigger and better perhaps is a new world is opening up to you. So don't think it's a curse and be afraid of it. Embrace it. It's part of your humanity.
Oh, humanity.
Humanity.
Humanity. Okay,
I
doctor.
agree. I agree totally with her. It's a natural thing. It will happen. So all this discussion about postponing menopause is not necessary. It will happen. It's part of life. So
all right, it's something we
it.
should look forward to. Thank you all for coming, doctor. You've been very insightful. You've been very useful for all of us here. And thank you for loving women the way you do. All right, so all of you who are asking for his number, if you go to our Facebook page in a little while from now, you will have Dr. Ladipo's number on our webpage, on the Facebook, even the Instagram. If you go there, you get to see it. All right, we'll join you again next week when we'll be discussing another exciting moment. Don't forget, healthy living is a key to escaping any hazards in life. Trust me. Bye.
This week on Executive Discuss.
Don't forget that this economy used to run in the 60s without oil.
Yes.
And at that time, our leaders concentrated on agriculture. So the present government is doing a lot, but it has not translated to so much in terms of results, and we need to do a whole lot more.
Hello, warm welcome to Remedies at 10 on NTA News 24. We're broadcasting to you from the nation's capital city, Abuja. I am Muspat and Wahab with the news. The headlines.
Consequences of insecurity will affect all nations, hence the imperative for cooperation and collaboration.
President Buhari makes strong case to the U.S. for a relocation of its Africa Command headquarters to Africa. House urges President Buhari to declare a state of emergency on the security sector to restore peace across the country. Nigeria and China strengthen ties on internal security. Thanks a lot for staying with us on the news. President Muhammadu Buhari has made a strong representation to the United States to consider relocating its Africa Command headquarters from Germany to Africa and indeed closer to the theater of operation in the battle against insecurity. Speaking at a virtual audience with the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the president said this is desirable in view of the growing security challenges in West and Central Africa, Gulf of Guinea, Lake Chad region, and the Sahel. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the reports.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, our relations have been strong for 60 years, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to work with you and your team on building on that foundation and charting a shared vision to guide our strategic partnership for the coming years.
Initiated by the United States, the virtual engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the U.S. Secretary of State is aimed at promoting existing bilateral ties between the two countries.
I also hope to discuss how we can build our economies back even better and stronger after the pandemic, growing them and making them more equitable. Investing in protecting the most vulnerable communities in our countries, I think, contributes to our goal of building a lasting security for Americans and for Nigerians.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the security challenges in Nigeria, compounded by the negative pressures in the Sahel, Central and West Africa, as well as the Lake Chad region, remain of great concern to his administration.
The support of important and strategic partners like the United States cannot be overstated, as the consequences of insecurity will affect all nations, hence the imperative for cooperation and collaboration of all nations to overcome these challenges.
Nigeria and her security forces, he explained, are resolutely committed to containing the security concerns as well as addressing their root causes, saying, however, that enhanced collaboration in all forms with friends and strategic partners is needed towards achieving greater security for all. He used the opportunity to congratulate the United States for rejoining the World Health Organization and the Paris Agreement on climate change.
This action is a demonstration of the United States' commitment in championing and supporting international organizations with the aim to build a better world for all. In this regard, Nigeria remains resolute in her commitment to supporting global efforts as enshrined on the Paris Agreement on climate change, which seeks to limit global warming and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
President Buhari used the forum to express appreciation to President Joe Biden for his welcoming and far-reaching decision to repeal the immigration restriction known as the Muslim ban on travel and visas for citizens predominantly from Muslim nations and African countries. Nigeria, he said, attaches great importance to the relations with the United States. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Still from the State House, Governor Babagana Umara Zulum of Borno State has formally briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on the recent violent attacks in parts of the state by insurgents, describing the situation as disturbing. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the governor, who was in the State House, gave a detailed account of the incidents coming after some moments of respite in the security situation. Governor Zulum, who is also chairman of the Northeast Governors Forum, had told President Buhari that following renewed attacks, the traumatized residents of the affected areas fled their communities and called for urgent intervention by the federal government.
In Borno, particularly, brigade headquarters were attacked. Many soldiers, men and officers of the Nigerian army were killed. Let me use this opportunity to extend my condolences to the families of the deceased. May God in His infinite wisdom forgive them. And I think it is my own responsibility to come and say the truth to Mr. President. Let him know what is going on in the entire Northeast sub-region. I think there is a need for us to get support for us to succeed in this war against insurgents. It's very pathetic. A few days ago, Damasak was attacked. Hundreds of people started fleeing Damasak. And now, the Gadam, it's almost disastered. Many people have left Gadam.
So to what will you attribute this deteriorating security situation in that state?
I think the military are yet to receive some of the equipment that they have ordered for.
The governor therefore made a case for the federal government to work towards hastening delivery of the equipment ordered for the Nigerian armed forces to enable them confront head-on the criminal element for the desired peace and stability to be restored in the area. Now from the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has adopted an 11-point resolution in which it urged President Muhammadu Buhari to declare a state of emergency on the security sector in order to restore peace across the country. After a 4-hour closed-door session, the House also resolved to invite the service chiefs, national security advisor, heads of paramilitary agencies and NITCOMSAT for a brief on the state of security in the country. Lami Ali reports.
It was a 4-hour wait for journalists as the Speaker kick-started the business of the day with an executive session. Parts of the resolutions adopted by House members include condemning the attacks on security personnel and formations in parts of the country and sympathize with victims. It also sympathized with families and communities that have suffered banditry, terrorism and criminal attacks recently in several states of the country and calls on government to
provide emergency relief to all communities that have been adversely affected by the recent attacks across the country.
The House noted that the number of personnel in the police and military falls short of what is required to effectively secure the country and therefore called for immediate additional recruitment into the armed forces. The House is also to extend an invitation to the service chiefs, the National Security Advisor, heads of paramilitary agencies and NITCOMSAT to brief the House on the security situation in the country. While urging the judiciary to accelerate the prosecution of suspected terrorists, bandits and other criminals awaiting trial, the House stressed the need for financial autonomy to local government areas to enable them to serve the populace.
The House reiterates its commitment to the security and corporate existence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and will therefore accelerate its engagement with stakeholders at a special security summit that is being organized by the House of Representatives.
The lawmakers pointed the need to protect national assets and resolved to commence an audit of all military assets and arms with the nation's armed forces. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Away from the National Assembly and the FCT, Yobe State Governor Mai Mala Buni has summoned an emergency security stakeholders meeting in Damaturu, the state capital, to re-strategize for quick response and reassessment of the security situation in communities and the state in general. Yohanasu Suleiman will bring us the reports in our subsequent bulletins. The Federal High Court's Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, has been attacked by unknown gunmen in the early hours of Tuesday. Emmanuel Nwizi reports that although no life was lost, one of the local security guards on duty sustained injuries during the attack. We'll bring that to you and because of this very bulletin. Meanwhile, an attack on Abegana community in Makudi local government area of Benue State has left 7 persons dead and many wounded. This led to the blocking of the highway by youth protesting the attack, but the quick intervention by Governor Samuel Otom calmed the situation, as Charles Saba reports.
This is the Makudi Lafia Road, blocked by youths protesting the attack on Abagana community that hosts the IDP's camp. 12 midnight, leaving 7 persons dead. Governor Samuel Otom, who made an on-the-spot visit to the area, described the attack as barbaric. He lamented the attack and killing of over 70 persons by bandits in various communities in recent times.
All hands will be on deck to address this matter.
Governor Otom called on the federal government to evolve an urgent pragmatic approach at arresting the perpetrators of banditry and other criminal activities before they make the nation ungovernable. From Abegana, Makudi local government area of Benue State, Charles Abba, NTA News.
The Nigerian army has condemned the indiscriminate sharing of social media with graphic pictures of personnel who died and paid the supreme price and because of protecting Nigerians and Nigeria from its adversaries. A statement by the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Mohammed Yerima, says the act is not only unpatriotic but insensitive. These unpatriotic acts are often done without considering the families of the departed personnel members, who in some cases get to know about the unfortunate death in such callous manner before they are even contacted by the military authorities. The Nigerian army considers this unacceptable and will henceforth take legal actions to protect troops who die in action from being ridiculed on social media or any platform. You're watching the news desk at 10 on NTA News 24. We're taking a break. More news in just a moment. Ramadan Kareem, indeed. The former governor of Lagos State and chieftain of the Governing All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has formally reacted to insinuations in some quarters that there is unhealthy relationship between him and President Muhammadu Buhari, describing it as baseless, unfounded, and a figment of their imagination. Chief Tinubu gave a declaration or clarification while speaking to NTA News after an audience with President Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
This is the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu since January last year. The former Lagos State Governor, who was accompanied to the State House by Chief Bisi Akande, met the president behind closed doors where critical national issues were discussed. Speaking to NTA News, Chief Tinubu dismissed claims that there is an unhealthy relationship between him and the president.
Nothing like unhealthy. Who is our doctor? Is it social media that is measuring the relationship? I don't have to disturb him openly on camera. We have so many ways to look at issues. We have nothing like that.
So the relationship with the president is very cordial.
Very, very, very close and cordial, frank and honest.
On the prevailing challenges of security in the country, Chief Tinubu made a case for Nigerians to bury their differences and support the president in his genuine efforts at finding lasting solutions.
There's no president who will want his country in chaos. Have you seen one? There's no one that we want a citizen exposed to banditry and danger. There's no president or leader that will want his nation fractured in tribalism, religious differences, and others. It calls for cooperation, understanding, coming together to move for unity and be able to bring a better Nigeria to the people.
Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu used the opportunity to express absolute confidence in the ability of the governing APC to retain power in 2023.
The chances is as bright as a midnight star. We continue to work for a better Nigeria.
He described as exemplary the clearly stated position of the president that constitutional term limits be respected by political office holders. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Away from the State House, the new Chinese envoy to Nigeria is engaging the Ministry of Police Affairs with a view to strengthening collaboration with China's Public Security Ministry. This is to enhance training equipment and intelligence of the force so as to confront the security challenges facing the nation. Francis Form reports.
This is the new Chinese envoy to Nigeria visiting the Minister of Police Affairs to enhance cooperation between the two countries in the area of security to effectively tackle these insecurity challenges.
I want to let you know the Chinese side of Beijing and also embassy here. We stand with you in solidarity with you to try to work together to change the current situation, to let people not living in fear.
Police Affairs Minister is taking advantage of the visit to tap from China's expertise to address the security situation.
We look forward to partnering with countries like China to ensure that we have better technology, to ensure that we have better equipment, and to also ensure that our training programs are enhanced. Modern day training programs that will update our police officers and other security officers who are working day and night to curb these criminalities.
Nigeria and the People's Republic of China established diplomatic relations 50 years ago and have had mutually beneficial bilateral relations. Francis from NTA News.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo says Nigeria has the ability to overcome the current security challenges confronting the nation, stating that the federal government is now reorganizing the entire security architecture in the country to achieve this. The Vice President stated this when he received on a courtesy visit the traditional ruler of Yakanaje Uke Kingdom in Karo local government area of Nasarawa State, Ahmed Abdullahi Hassan. State House correspondent Gideon Nifade reports.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, while welcoming the traditional ruler and his entourage, agreed that the nation is facing security challenges and explained that government is reorganizing the security architecture for proper policing to overcome the challenge. The Vice President assured that the present challenges will prepare Nigeria for a greater and prosperous future, urging the traditional institution to support the re-engineering process. Vice President Osinbajo expressed satisfaction concerning what the monarch is doing in his kingdom to ensure peaceful coexistence, observed that without going through challenges, it would be difficult for people to appreciate the importance of fairness and justice, the importance of giving people a voice, calling on traditional rulers to leverage the influence they have over communities to effect positive change for the good of the entire society. On his part, Dr. Ahmed Abdullahi Hassan, monarch of Yakanaje Uke Kingdom, said his people are emulating the federal government's efforts at bringing ethnic groups in Nigeria together as one. The paramount ruler appealed to the federal government to integrate the traditional institution in the implementation of some of its intervention schemes for small businesses and the less privileged. He said traditional rulers are closer to the people and understand the issues and needs in the localities, hence the need to be involved in the implementation of the schemes. In the State House, Jude Onifade, NTA News.
And earlier on Tuesday, Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo had represented the country at the Sierra Leone 60th Independence Day celebration. The Vice President, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the event, was received by Vice President Jode Jallow on arrival to the country before proceeding to join President Julius Maada Bio and several other heads of state and government from Africa and beyond who were also attending the ceremony in Freetown. Both countries have cordial relations right from colonial times, and the relationship has continued and evidenced in the socio-economic, technical and security cooperation over the years. In his anniversary speech, President Julius Maada Bio promised to continue to work with other world leaders towards a better African continent.
To reaffirm my country's commitment to the pursuit and promotion of common African agenda through these and other multilateral institutions, including our leadership of the C10 and other processes. Let me equally assure my fellow citizens, assure your excellencies and the rest of the world that Sierra Leone has taken the challenge and we deliver on the promise at independence in 1961 to be a great nation.
Vice President Osinbajo was accompanied by Foreign Affairs Minister of State Ambassador Zubairu Dada and among other top government officials. A journey to enshrine an unprecedented reform in the Nigerian broadcasting industry known as digital switchover is kickstarting a second phase of its rollout with a view to covering the entire country. This is an update by the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed to the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Discussions here are the instance of the Ministerial Task Force on the digital switchover aimed at accelerating the pace of the project's rollout across the country.
The DSO is about creating jobs for our teeming population, especially the very creative youth population.
The Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed told the senators that the pilot rollout of the project was successfully done in Plateau State, the Federal Capital Territory, Kaduna, Enugu and Osun states, while the second phase will kickstart on this Thursday, April 29th, with Lagos State, followed by Kano and Rivers states.
I've directed GoTV and Star Times to stop self-carriage by the end of June 2021 and migrate to either integrated television service or Pinnacle Communication, which are the approved signal distributors in the country.
The need for more awareness to Nigerians on the project and status of radio transmission were among the issues raised by the senators.
If you can include radio in your program or your activities, I think we'll be glad.
The opportunity for local content to thrive, indigenous producers to be more engaged, and local advertising market to grow have prompted the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed to appeal for speedy passage of the bill seeking to amend the National Broadcasting Commission Act. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Right, so coming from the National Assembly, senators called on authorities to establish permanent military and police posts in Niger East senatorial districts and other parts of the country plagued by activities of bandits and Boko Haram. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports that the Senate also resolved that its leadership meets with President Muhammadu Buhari on the security situation in the country.
The state of Nigeria's security situation resonated on the floor of the Senate for the umpteenth time. In the last 4 months, motions on security challenge in all the geopolitical zones have flooded the legislative chamber, 4 on Niger State alone. This time, the motion by the senator representing Niger East, Sani Musa, shut down all items scheduled for consideration on the order paper. It called for immediate deployment of troops and relief materials from the federal government to the affected areas.
Villages and communities in Shiroro, Rafi, and Munya local government areas of Niger State and has subjected the affected areas under serious survival threats.
In Niger North, Mariga local government is also in constant attack. We need to start now, because nobody can ever escape it.
We are where we must now bring out all our arsenals.
Some senators recommended massive recruitment into security agencies and engagement of foreign assistance in arresting the situation.
Colombia, Israel, they've gone through this road and they overcome them. So we should not be ashamed to seek support and assistance of such countries to help us.
It costs us nothing to get foreign support. We need to strengthen the manpower requirement of our security agencies.
To have audience with the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, the National Security Advisor, and the Minister of Defense on the regional implications of the developments in Chad.
We need to have supplementary budget to fund not only the recruitment of additional personnel, but also procurement of weapons and platforms.
In the meantime, Senate has confirmed the nomination of Justice Salisu Garba Abdullahi for appointment as Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. It sworn in Frank Ibezim of the All Progressives Congress as the senator representing Imo North Senatorial District of Imo State. He replaces late Senator Benjamin Owajimogu, who died in 2019. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Unko, NTA News.
This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Time for another break. We'll bring you more reports in just a moment.
The best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, covering with tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities which contains this virus.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Visual Impressions on NTA. I am Umar Mohammed.